Welcome to our Yurtiful Life Podcast. In today's episode, we discuss who we are, how we got here, and where we are going.
Hey there, Yurties.
Thanks for joining us today. For anyone new here, I'm Keegan.
And I'm Sarah. We've been living a minimal off-grid lifestyle for over 10 years now.
We have a large family and lots of experiences to share.
So let's get to it. Welcome to Our Yurtiful Life.
So let's start with who we are.
We are a family of 8. We have 6 children. Their ages are ranging from 9 months to 9 years old. We have a mixture of girls and boys.
I like that we have 3 each.
Of course, that is a great balance for us. And we are a homesteading family.
So we have been homesteading together now since 2015. A little background on each of us. Sarah actually grew up homesteading. She grew up on a small little homesteading farm with her family. Raised sheep and almost every kind of animal under the sun.
Pretty much.
I've heard. And so a lot of hands-on experiential knowledge. Where I personally grew up in the city, so I didn't have any. I had zero of that hands-on knowledge.
Complete and utter opposite when it came to homesteading. But
we came together. Yep.
Yeah, we met in college and we just really connected on this area and both knew that we always wanted to homestead. And for us, that looks like just providing enough for our needs and some extra to share. Yeah. And so our Yurtiful Life.
So you might be asking, what does Yurtiful mean?
This is a word that we coined back in 2016 when we decided that we wanted to live a little bit differently than others. Yurtiful means wonderful, beautiful, simple, sincere, groovy, and unconventional. And that is our goal. We want to live a wonderful life, admire the beauty in life, keep life simple, be sincere in everything we do. And to others, our life is a bit groovy and a little bit unconventional.
Yep. So back in 2017, we started a blog together, and Sarah did a lot of the hard work getting that going and off the ground.
Yeah, so Yurtiful, we should mention, we were living in a yurt at the time. We started out renting an apartment when we were first married, and we realized that we wanted to do life differently and that a yurt would be more along the lines of that. And so once we were living in the yurt and learning different skills and living a little bit more unconventional life, we decided to start our blog in 2017. And we continued that for a few years. And in 2019, we started a YouTube channel.
Yep. So in 2019, YouTube channel was started and it did get off the ground pretty quickly. Viewership started really growing.
And we had a wonderful following. A lot of people were very supportive. And if you're any of our Yurties that are joining us now, thank you so much for sticking with us and for coming back and listening to the Yurtiful Life podcast. We did, unfortunately, 2 years into YouTube, near the end of 2020, we did choose to end our Yurtiful Life on YouTube and our blog. And do you want to talk about why that happened?
Yeah, so we had threats made to our family, specifically regarding our children. It was being just viewers out there on YouTube land were accusing our family and accusing us as parents of not taking care of our children properly, not providing them with a good living environment, safety, and such. And so one or many decided to call CPS, and so we had to deal with a open CPS investigation.
And that investigation was closed very quickly, and the CPS worker found that nothing was substantiated. None of the claims had any substance to them, but that just really shook our family and caused us to draw back from social media, draw back from, sadly, our Yurties and our following and the friends and family we had made online through that time.
Made us more leery or careful to actually share our lives with others.
It definitely brought out the mama bear. You don't want to poke that mama.
Nope, don't poke the bear.
And so we made the choice to stop, and we feel like it's time. It's time to come back and share.
Yep.
And
So we're trying to share our lives in a format that can hopefully help someone else out there with their own struggles, or particularly if they're striving to homestead.
so, with that, what is our experience with homesteading? We have moved many times over the years, and we have helped to grow 6 or more different homesteads in multiple states. We have had a lot of ups and downs, lots of experience gathered.
Mhm.
We've been able to homestead and learn in so many ways. I grew up homesteading, and I grew up gardening and raising, like Keegan said, just about every animal there is. And that gave me a lot of experience. But the beautiful thing about moving and assisting other homesteads, and since we had the yurt, we could do that. We would go from homestead to homestead, ministering, sharing, working alongside, and then
And learning.
learning. And even though I had so much knowledge to share, there's always something to learn. And we learned a lot about the back to Eden gardening method, swales, raised beds. We learned more about cows. We learned about, oh, just so many
And
things.
every area had its own needs, its own approach to overcome. There's more than one way to solve a problem. And so homesteading, I think, is really about flexibility and learning how to work with the land that you have and not against it.
So we sold the yurt in 2021 and closed that season of life. And we had to take a break for, there were some health issues we had to address. And we took a break and we rented and started living a little bit more conventional life while we were renting.
Back on grid, things like that at the time.
And we saved up and purchased our own property in March of 2023.
So that was a big blessing. We were able to actually secure our own property. We have 16 acres. Most of it is wooded. And the house is definitely a fixer-upper. It's, as far as we can tell, an early 1800s original construction farmhouse, and it needs work from the foundation up.
And we started our homestead again from scratch. And we call our homestead Firm Foundation Homestead. And that is our foundation was really our Yurtiful life.
So,
And so we're coming full circle here.
so someone might ask, like, how can you guys do all that? Like, how did you
You
make that
must have
sustainable?
money.
Yeah. No, we don't. We didn't come from money. We don't have money from our perspective. So that's where the crux of how these things have been possible at all is through low cost living.
And so when we all started this, we were a newlywed couple. We were renting, and Keegan was working an office job. But we quickly realized that that was not mentally healthy for him. It was not healthy for our family. So we decided we needed to change. We wanted to homestead anyway, but we needed to speed up the process a little bit. And so while we were renting, we saved very diligently and we bought a yurt.
And for those interested, we decided to go with the Mongolian Gare, and we went through a company called Groovy Yurts. They actually source Mongolian Gares from Mongolia. So we did that because it was a structure made to be living off grid, and that was our goal, was to get off grid in an affordable manner and own
We
our home.
highly, highly recommend them. Eve's is wonderful. We just love everybody there. Really, just such a blessing to our family. And once we lived in the yurt, we started our Yurtiful Life blog, which took off quite quickly. And we went off grid as a way to cut expenses
And
for our family.
that enabled us. Yes, so yes, we did have 2 acres to do that on. It was a wedding gift, and so it was 2 acres of undeveloped land, and so we put our roots down there and started homesteading on that land. But that allowed us to cut our renting costs as well as our electrical costs because we were completely off grid. We started a small. I learned solar, and we started a small, like, 2 panel little solar bank to run the laptop off of, recharge our phones, things like that, and a small LED array of lights.
And the lower cost of living then allowed Keegan to quit his office job and become self employed.
So I'd say self-employment is the next big thing. Low cost of living you need flexibility. If you're going to be doing this unconventional, groovy lifestyle, you kind of have to be outside the box. And so self-employment gives you, yes, it has a lot of risk. It can be higher risk, but it also gives you much more flexibility and possibility to do things on your timetable and what you're trying to accomplish.
So Keegan started out being a hired hand for a contractor. And as he learned the ropes of business and running his own business and things of that nature, he moved into a handyman business.
Yeah, I was still trying to figure out what I really could thrive in. I love learning and I have no problem learning new things pretty quickly. So, handyman made sense to me as I was basically fixing everything. But I started to gravitate pretty quickly into mechanical and, in particular, vehicles.
So, yeah, after our third son or our third child, who was a son, was born, our vehicle broke down. And that was needed fixing, and Keegan was the one to fix it. And that is when we realized that he is very passionate about auto repair and doing things the right way and doing right by others. And so he's been pursuing that ever since.
As I've told people in the past, I ended up I stopped and I looked and I have this really specialized tool set starting to grow around vehicles. It says, you know what? How can I turn this into something to make a living for our family?
And so we just worked really hard. And for years, we've worked very hard to stay out of debt. And we do want to talk more about that in a future episode, but we can't get into everything today. But with passion and things that we get so involved in and realizing how passionate Keegan is about vehicles, we started to notice patterns and a trend in our family. And that led to a later in life diagnosis that Keegan has autism, ADHD, OCD, what some people would call ADHD. And yeah, we got it
I
all.
got it all, yeah. So we officially realized about a year ago now that I am a neurodiverse individual, as they say these days. And that did help me. Getting an actual diagnosis did help me to understand more. Why do I do what I do and think the way I think? There's a lot of pros, in my opinion. It can be a really good thing, but it can also have a lot of negativities or tricky things that don't affect or bother others that really bother me.
So, according to the experts, I would be considered more neurotypical and Keegan is neurodiverse. And how does that affect our family? Well, our children are much like their dad in some ways, and they're like their
Hmm.
mom in others. And we have just a very neurodiverse bunch.
Right.
Certain children have different tendencies than others, and that's okay. We all have our strengths and weaknesses.
So
And
it's given us awareness and understanding of why we react to certain ways and why things bother us the way they do.
And for me, as a neurotypical mom, it has really helped me to be better able to teach my children their learning styles and
Because we do homeschool,
understand.
for those that don't know.
Yes, we homeschool, and I do have multiple college degrees for anyone who is critical that I can't teach. But yes, we just we love our neurodiverse family and our children, and we just want to share that aspect to encourage those of you who may be a neurodiverse family.
And for other
You can do
neurodiverse
it.
individuals out there who may be listening, I highly recommend. We found Autocate, a YouTube channel, Autocate with Chris and Debbie, to be really beneficial. And also in Australia, Orion Kelly. Orion Kelly's channel has been very beneficial.
And so, with all of that, now you know a little bit about our family. And so, where are we going with this? Why did we start this podcast? And what are we planning to do with all of this?
Well, we started this podcast with the goal of restoring hope in others. We really want this to be more of a ministry. We want this to be able to help people where they're at. If you're an individual out there struggling, maybe you're neurotypical, or maybe you're trying to get your family started and you just don't have much income, and maybe you want to get homesteading, but you feel like I just need to have so much money just to get things started. And that's not true. We want to share with you the way we did it without money or much money.
We just want to help educate you, neurodiverse, neurotypical, whatever it may be, large family, small family, if you're low income, if you're renting, how do you get to where you have your own property? You know, if you're dealing with health struggles, Lyme, miscarriages, so many different things we have personally dealt with in our family, different health things we've overcome. And don't give up. Don't let challenges keep you down. You just keep going and you can find a Yurtiful life.
Yep.
And we just want to help restore hope in each of you, the hope that we have that you can have a Yurtiful life.
So instead of focusing on all your setbacks or the things you feel prevent you from being able to meet your goal, focus on your skills. Everyone has something they're good in or they really enjoy and can become good in because they have a passion to study it. Lock on to that thing, find that thing, and then don't give up. Don't go away from it. Stay on it, and that will be your path to the thing you want.
So, no, we do not still live in a yurt, but we've always held to living in a yurt is not required to live a yurtiful life. And our life is still very yurtiful. And we just want to share that with you all and encourage you that you can live yurtifully too.
That's right.
So, I think it's about time to wrap this podcast up.
All right. Well, please like, share, subscribe, and join our email list.
And don't forget that you should be going out,
Dream big,
and discover your own Yurtiful life.